I am beyond excited to start transplanting into this NUTRITOWER system. I'm doing it today, and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing with existing plants that I had from the soil. So what I have going on here is, looks like a mess, but this is what I'm doing. So if you remember the kale, the onions, the lettuce, and also I have a tomato that I'm gonna clip off and plant as well. But I just wanna show you what I'm doing. So I'm gonna plant probably 4 pots of the onions, maybe 2. I'll do 2 and 2. What I did was I just took a spoon, that was my kale pot, but I just took a spoon and dug deep to the root, pulled it out, shook it off, and I had a garbage bag actually that I put excess soil into. And then I brought it over to the sink and washed the roots thoroughly. And they look pretty good. So I'm going to transplant these into the cocoa pucks that I have sitting in water to soften up. And this is what they look like at the beginning. And they're hard. And then you put them into the soil and they just puff up, and that's your growing medium. So I've got my pellets are already rinsed off, the clay pellets that came with the system. Rinse them off thoroughly, and because there's a lot of dust and debris on them. So you want to get rid of that. Just put it in a strainer, and I use lukewarm water. And give it a good rinse, and then let it strain. And then I have lettuce that I took out of this pot. So I just took, I think I have 4 of the biggest ones right here. And again, the root system, if I can get them untangled, the root system is beautiful. There's a little bit of discoloration, but that's because they were growing in soil. And I mean, I'm gonna try this because I'll try anything. You guys know that. And then I have a pepper that came out of one of the cells that I was growing. This one here is a red chili. And it's got 1 true leaf on it. Actually, the second one's starting. So I thought, you know what? Patty, try it. So that's what we're going to do. And the kale. The kale, I have 4 plants here. I'm going to plant 2 in each. And the root system, again, it's a little discolored, but that's from the soil. And I did rinse it very thoroughly. I was going to put a diluted peroxide on, spray it with mild diluted peroxide, but I couldn't find my peroxide, so I didn't. I'm just gonna wing it. If I end up starting to get bugs or anything, then I'll just pull them and try something different. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. Actually, we'll go into the other room and I'll take a cutting off of one of the tomato plants, and I think instead of pulling the one that I had taken off to reroot in the soil, I'm just gonna cut it and I'll put it into one of those growing mediums, and we'll see how it does in there. Let's go. You can see here, there's a sucker, and I'm going to just pop that off if I can do it one-handed. Yep, just like that. I'm going to stick that directly into the growing medium. Okay, so I'm going to do the lower plants first. I'll wait for the kale till the end. This is going to be a little bit harder to place in there. I do want to let you know, though, I will be seeding as well. I'm going to do a video on that next, but I can't wait for anything. So this I just have to try. I mean, the system is so perfect, and it's in my kitchen, and why not start growing? And it's going to be, actually, it's going to be very interesting to see how the lettuce does. The lettuce is looking a little floppy because I washed it off. How the lettuce does in the hydroponic system, in the NUTRITOWER hydroponic system, as opposed to the soil growing, as well as the peppers and the tomatoes. And I'm going to be planting all of these things anyhow, and actually the onions. But I am going to be planting all this stuff from seed as well to go into the system, because I have 32 cups to fill. So that's going to be good. This is, I can't believe I get to do this in my own kitchen. And I mean, if you're interested in something like this, I'll have the affiliate link will be in the description box below if you want to go and check them out. If you were to be in a CSA program or go to the market each week, but a CSA, you're going to be paying for, say, an 8-week run, you'd pay anywhere from $550 to $600 an 8-week program. Where this, it's gonna pay off so quickly. We buy a lot of lettuce, we buy a lot of tomatoes, we buy a lot of produce, and I really want this. We want it in our kitchen. We want our grandkids to be able to come and grow with us and harvest with us, and it's very practical. It's very inexpensive. And it's so much fun, and you get to do it right in your own home all year round. So you can still do your soil growing if you have the space, but this is all year round. I am so excited. So I'm going to get you back over here, and we're going to get transplanting. So the first thing I'm going to do is I just had this tomato clipping soaking in the water. In the video where I did the soil, we pulled off the 2 bottom leaves. I'm not going to do that with this one. It will still root. Might take a little bit longer, but I don't have 2 leaves to take off because that would just leave the top. So I'm going to stick this into the cocoa coir, and I'm going to go down quite far. There we go. Look at that pretty little thing. I hope you could see me putting that in. That is the cutest. And then I'm going to take my pepper. Now my pepper has quite a root on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay that there. I'm going to take a sharp steak knife, and I'm just going to make a bigger incision, if you will, in the middle of that. And actually, you know what else would work is even a pencil, but I don't have one on hand right now, so that'll work. And you're going to take your root system, and you're going to put it down as far as you can, and you can swirl it and just keep shoving that down, and just use your fingers and block that like that. Put the soil around it like that is what I meant. Another cutie. Now the lettuce, let's do the lettuce. Okay, I'm going to do 2 of this leaf lettuce in each block. Again, the root system is very long on that. I could trim it a bit. Actually, maybe I will. Okay, so I'm just going to take my snips and take just a little bit of that hairy root system off. Make sure that you do have some hairs on there though, because that's what's going to help it grow. And again, I'm just going to use my finger. Why not? There we go. Way easier. And stick that in. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with these. And like I said, this looks really floppy only because it was in water. The whole foliage was in water. And we got a little bit of dirt on there from these things. And then these two aren't actually that bad. So I'm gonna try not to do these ones. I'm not gonna trim those ones. And again, I'm gonna do that. It is better to use the knife because you don't get the cocoa all over the plant. Now, when you're seeding, you're going to seed directly into these cocoa pucks, so you won't have to do this, but hey, I'm gonna try it. There's another one. Okay. And these are bunching onions, so I'm gonna take, you know what, I'm just gonna do 2. So 2 bunches. And there's a little bit more than I would have liked in there, but I want to just see how they grow. So I'm going to gather these ones and the others. And the root system, any weak ones I'm going to pull out. The root system on these aren't so bad. And again, you can twist them in. So I'm hoping you guys can see this. It's so simple. All right, so I have probably, I don't know, I'm gonna say 8 onions in there. And I'm gonna lose my soil. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Now I'm gonna take that and I'm just gonna basically twist them in. And with onions, you don't wanna go super deep because you don't want the the bulb to start rotting. So I can still see a little bit of the white there, which is perfect. And I mean, we're not going to be playing around with these, so they're not going to be disturbed much. I'm just going to take this piece of cocoa and put it over top of that root that I can see that's exposed. Do that. And then I'll do the other bunch of onions. And again, this one doesn't have as many, but maybe. And I think I liked it when it popped the hole right through the bottom. There. And you're going to take it, spin it, and stick that in. And I mean, as these are growing, if they look like they're choking out or anything, you can just thin them if you want. But I don't know how they're going to grow in a puck like that. I've never done hydroponics this way, and I love learning new things. We usually use the Oasis, and we didn't use this medium, but I do like this growing medium. So now the kale. So let's see, this is going to be a little floppier. So I'm going to take, I have 2 smalls and 2 largers. So I'm going to take 1 small, 1 larger. And you can see the root system on that, but it's got like a heavier stalk until it gets to the root ball. So I'm going to poke a hole all the way through this again on the 2. And I'm going to plant them right down as far as I can. And just kind of, you know, go back and forth to make the opening a bit bigger. And with kale, it's great because it's a cut and grow crop where you're just going to cut the leaves off as you want them, and it'll continue to grow. So there's that one. That one's going to be a bit floppy. I think I might have to secure that in the system, but we shall see. And then I'm going to do the same with this one. And then we're going to get them ready to plant into the cups and see how they grow. And there we go. Beautiful. So now what we're going to do is you're going to take one of your cups that are hanging on the system that I showed you Dwayne and I showed you in the video how we set that up yesterday. If you want to go back and look at that. But then you got your filter. Your filter goes inside of the cup like so. And then you take your neti pot that sits on top of the filter. And then you take your clay pellets, and we're just going to fill that to give it a good base, like that. Okay, that's for this to sit on. And I'm going to do my tomato first. So I'm going to place my tomato right in the center, and you're just going to gently pour the beads around it, the pellets around it, and you're going to come up, leave a little bit of the top exposed, okay, just for airflow, and you don't want to cover the whole plug up. And just gently move that out of the way. I hope you can see this. I'm just going to do this and then I'll show you what it looks like after. And there we go. So you can see that there's a little bit of the top of the plug exposed, and that's what you want. And the root system will all start grabbing onto the pellets as well. And I'm going to continue on with the rest of this stuff, get them into their pots, hang them up, and we'll be right back. One thing I do want to say is I'm going to do this. I don't know if you want to try it, but brassicas like to be tight into soil or medium anyhow, so which kale is a brassica. So I'm going to top this up quite far and keep the medium down just to suspend the plant, to bring it more into the center and make it more stable. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'll show you what it's like once it's onto the tower system. And there we go. I've got everything planted that I want to plant today. And I mean, don't worry if your plants like this guy here, this lettuce, He's a little wilty right now. That's because I've wet his foliage as well, or the greens, but plants are resilient. So remember that. And another thing I want to mention about this system, if you plan on filling your pellets into the pots over at the system, just make sure that no pellets are dropping into a tray below with no filter, because that will, one of the pellets will get stuck in that hole and it'll cause overflow. So just keep that in mind. So it's probably better to do it at a station or a table or something. But sorry it's so hard to see in here, but it's because of the bright light in front of me. I'll try to brighten it up. There we go. Okay, now it went back to dark. But look at that. People, and that's just gonna run. Oh, I wanted to mention too, so down here, actually have these backwards. So we have our A and B nutrients. I've filled my tank in the reservoir. I'll show that to you in a minute. The A and B on a full tank, I will give you the measurements, but with this, the A, it has the nitrogen, the potash, calcium, magnesium, and iron. And then the B, so A is 502, B is 158, and it contains nitrogen, phosphoric acid, and potash as well. So in this reservoir, when you take this out to fill, make sure that all of your main hoses are into the bucket. Otherwise, you're going to have spillage. But with here, it's the minimum level of water fill line and the maximum fill line. So I do the maximum fill line, and I take 2 capfuls of A and 2 capfuls of B, and that's it. And then I close my lid, and very simple. So as far as I'm concerned, the system is amazing. I'm going to bring you back in a couple days to give you an update on how the plants are doing. I'm also going to be doing the showing you how to do your pH and EC. I have a Blue Lab Guardian that I just purchased. I just calibrated it this morning, so I'm just going to play around with it this afternoon. Get that going, but for now, it's got the nutrients. They're going to be fine for a couple days until I get to that. But next video, I want to do some seeding with the trays that they give you, and yeah, I'm super excited. Go check them out. The link is in my description box. They're amazing people. They've also got, I'll put the link to their Facebook community page as well. There's so many helpful tips on there from people who have purchased one of these and are growing and doing different things and things that you would never think of. And you can do it at home. You can do it at home with your kids. You can do it for your family. It's just a perfect thing. You guys have a great day. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in a day or two. Bye.